What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. So this is just my little 2 cents. This is a real quick drop on the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for. The essence that was Saturday night. Now, we've been talking about it. I had a couple of conversations with friends. We were talking about this whole Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott, and we were talking about who had the better catalog and who was going to win, and all of that great stuff, right? But it just did not prepare me for the actual situation. And so, what I mean by that is, they started off doing a lot of talking, and at first I was like, oh Lord, we're gonna sit here and just talk all night. Oh my gosh. But once they got started playing the music, baby. And the one thing I said about with Jill Scott as the back and forth went on, I said, Jill Scott may not have had as many quote unquote like radio hits, but if you bought Jill Scott's music, those songs gave you moments. Like, even when she played the live of her doing the opera, again, if you've got the live album, you've heard it, you know it. If you've seen her live, she's done it. Like, I've seen her perform the opera live, and it never stops being amazing. It never stops being amazing to me. I love the fact that they spoke on the quote unquote rivalry and how people want them to just not be friends or not be cool. And they talked about the fact that they are friends in real life. They know each other's family. They speak. And then when you get to that connection, which of course I didn't know, that the only song that Erykah Badu has ever done that wasn't a song she wrote was Jill Scott. And that it was Jill Scott's first song. And that Erykah Badu took a chance and they made it a thing. And it is one of Erykah Badu's most iconic songs. Found out that Erykah Badu wrote Long Walk. I didn't know. But once you hear the lyrics, you're like, oh, I could definitely hear Erykah Badu singing this. And so you see how these two women are just connected. I mean, we know that Erykah Badu is very eccentric and very Africana, you know what I mean? And we know that Jill Scott is very spiritual as well. And they were both able to sort of get that in, but not in a way that made you roll your eyes sort of thing. And so for myself, it was a moment. It was an event. It was epic. It was everything to me. Like, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I just think that those two women blessed us Saturday night. And it took a woman to do it. I gotta say it took a woman to do it. Okay, the women took us on a journey, right? The men gave us some battles, right? We had some great battles, but the women, they took us on this spiritual journey. Like, they took us there, right? I didn't know Jill Scott was living in Tennessee these days. I don't know why. Not my business, obviously. But that's interesting to know that she's in Tennessee of all places, And we know that Erykah lives in Dallas. There definitely was production on both sides, but not to the point where it was distracting. You could definitely tell that Jill Scott had her light and everything, and Erykah Badu had her DJ thing set up, but it wasn't distracting. It didn't take away from the moment. Jill Scott and that smile, you could tell that she genuinely was happy. That it was like, I don't know. I guess the biggest thing was that it was so genuine on both sides. Like, there was no bullshit with it. Like, these two women were genuine in what they were bringing us, and I was just so here for it. Like, I am so here. Like I would even take that as an album. Like, somebody send me the soundbite of that whole 2 hours, because I could just be in that moment. Like, I could just live in that moment. Even, we can always walk away and say what songs they didn't do, because if you're fans of both ladies and you have their albums, for me, probably 90% of both of their catalogs I could sit through. You know what I mean? Really, probably 100% of both of their catalogs I could sit through. I think the biggest moment of sisterhood was when Erykah Badu went out just as she was playing Tyrone. And Jill Scott was like, she'll be back. I'm not worried about it. She'll be back. And while she's gone, I'm going to keep it going. And then she started singing Tyrone. And then she said, you know what? Let me find it. I'm going to play it for her. And again, that just lets you know that this was not a competition. This was not a who's better than who's gonna do the other person. She was like, listen, my sis had little technical difficulties going on, but she was just in the middle of playing one of her biggest hits. I know the people been waiting for it. Let me go on and go into my catalog and play it. Like, that's what we're going to do. And it was a small thing, but it meant a lot. Like, it didn't, in the moment, it wasn't, I was like, oh, okay, she's going to finish playing Tyrone. But when you look at it from a quote unquote competition, the way they always try to pit women, like, oh, women against each other, and we can't, because one of my biggest issues, and they do this in Black Hollywood, they also do it in the music industry, is there can't be two. There just can't be two. There can't be two female rappers at the same time. So they pit them against each other. They can't be two, R&B. They can't be two neo soul. Like, so it's like they almost pit them against each other. And in that moment, they showed us that it's not here. Like, if you're waiting for the competition, you're not going to get it here. That's not what we're doing here. And I feel like we needed that. Like, once again, the chat was full of all the celebrities, all them check marks, honey. The chat, and I think they got up to almost 800,000. So you're talking about they were knocking on 1 million people, right? I forgot how much Babyface and Teddy Riley ended up with, but they definitely went in the ballpark. They certainly went in the ballpark, and so that tells you that people were wanting this. This was just feeding people's soul, and this went on for close to 3 hours, right? And it just was everything for me. I sat here and I had stuff that I was supposed to be doing, but I couldn't tear myself away from my Instagram to get other stuff done. You know what I mean? Like, videos I was trying. That's why my videos are behind, y'all, because I was going to do videos Saturday night, but I could not stop. I could not pull myself away from that. And so I was here for it. I know the next battle is supposed to be Nelly versus Ludacris, which, I'm here for that. Okay, I'm here for some Nelly versus Luda. Actually, I've been waiting for a new Luda album for like 5,000 years. I don't know where it is, Luda. What's up? What's going on? What we doing? But I'm definitely certain that I know myself, and I'm sure that iTunes, if you go and look at the top 10 singles that have been downloaded in the last 2 days or whatever, I'm pretty certain Jill Scott and Erykah Badu are on that list. Songs that you forgot you loved, that you had to go back and listen to again. And then I had to go back and listen to because when she talked about how she just bared her soul and how she came out of the booth just in tears, I had to go back and listen again and just like really focusing on the lyrics, like, oh wow, okay. When they talked about the musicians that were on these albums with them, I didn't realize that Jill Scott wrote the treatments for all of her videos as well. I knew Erykah Badu did, but I knew she directed her videos, but I did not know Jill Scott wrote the treatment for all her videos as well. Like, you learn, which is the great thing about these battles, is that you get the backstories. It's almost like, y'all remember MTV Unplugged, where the people would perform their songs, but then they would give you the story, and you could sort of get that story behind it. That's sort of what it reminded me of, is that, you get that behind the scenes story. So it gave me what I needed, y'all. I don't know what y'all got out of it. I don't know how I made y'all feel, but it definitely gave me what I needed. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.